Give me one word that you're feeling right now.
Tired.
I'm feeling amazing.
Great.
I'm thrilled.
What got you guys here? What got you through this race, the last 500? I mean, Maritime was pressing you. Like, what got you across that finish line first?
My coach would not stop telling us to rate up and sprint through the line. So shout out Shannon Walker.
I would say the support from my mom and dad and, my coach was probably like my push for this race.
Yeah, I think our coach pushed us a lot, so it helped a lot.
Yeah, I think it was just the work that we've put in throughout the past year, 2 years, 3 years. It's just, it all compacted into this moment.
And this moment was the ultimate moment.
And we are back to the racing. We are now looking at the men's Youth 4X with lane 0, Los Gatos, lane 1, White Marsh Boat Club, lane 2, Maritime Rowing Club, lane 3, Oregon Unlimited, lane 4, Indianapolis Rowing Club, lane 5, Texas Rowing Center, lane 6, Oak Neck Rowing Academy, and lane 7, Miami Rowing Club.
Now, one thing that we have seen time and time again all morning is how tight a lot of this racing is. It's almost hard to call a leader at this point because we have boats just edging each other out just over and over again. Every few strokes, it's changing places, but it is looking, oh, well, we just switched our camera view here, so I can't see with my little hawk eyes 1,500 meters down the course, but as soon as we get view crossing the 500 now, it is looking like lane 1, White Marsh, who actually got 7th last year in this event. One thing that is very, very cool about this race is we have 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 7th place finishers from last year. So again, a lot of returners, a lot of alumni in this race, if you will. So right now, again, we are seeing what looks like lane 4 right now, Indianapolis, who has taken the lead, if I'm not mistaken. And now that we are back in the sky, we can get a better view of where everybody is.
Yeah, it looks like it's very tight between the Indianapolis crew and White Marsh. White Marsh looks to maybe have poked their nose out just a bit, but right there with them is that Indianapolis crew with some pressure being put on them by, looks like Texas Rowing Center. So right now, all of these crews, it looks like positions 1 through 4 really has some competition. And now in lane 6, Oak Neck starting to apply some pressure to Texas. And what I love to see in this race, I think I was going to comment on it before Maurice came on, was how the boats from the back push and put pressure on the boats that are in the lead. And those are where the questions are asked.
Yeah, that's right. A rising tide floats all ships, right? So all the boats from the back here that start to challenge, the other ones have to either hold them off or counter in some way. And we don't actually know what a lot of these race plans are themselves. So we don't know if they're acting or if they're reacting to some of these crews that are pushing them from the back, or if those are a planned move. So that's where things start to get really exciting. And I think just past the 1,000, which we are crossing now, is when we're really going to start to see them throw the kitchen sink at each other and throw these punches. So again, Indianapolis doing very well, coached by a father-daughter coaching team, which is very cool. So we've had a lot of siblings, but not a father-daughter coaching team. That's pretty awesome. But they are very excited for their crews that are out here today, and they are definitely making them proud out here.
And right now we're seeing White Marsh still in the lead right here, but it's really tight. There's a lot of pressure being put on them. It looks as though we actually have Los Gatos as well has made a move and poked their nose out, maybe by a couple of feet to put themselves into the lead. And it looks as though Maritime is starting to wind it up a little bit and put some pressure on that White Marsh crew.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now, what do you think it is, the patience of that Los Gatos crew? We're looking on the outside because it was almost like a slow burn. They kind of waited to make their move, like they were poaching those other crews just a little bit, just patiently waiting for that moment to strike.
Yeah, I think they were rowing a little bit lower than the other crews. It looks as though they've picked up the rating a bit here and are now executing their stroke a little bit with a little bit more ease. You know, sometimes you have to settle into the race. Sometimes you have nerves going on. But these crews, as you said, they have the experience. You know, they've been here before. They're maybe veterans in that boat, and so they can be patient. They can understand their speed and know how their boat moves. Now, what I'm liking to see here, we're coming into that extra tough last 500, and we can see Los Gatos followed by White Marsh, followed by Maritime Rowing Club in those top 3 spaces. They've managed to sort of put a stamp on this race by setting a tier and putting themselves ahead of the other crews, but this is the final, so anything can happen.
Yeah, that's right. And look how close Los Gatos, White Marsh, and Maritime have come together here. But we don't want to forget the outside lanes here again. This is what I love to see. Texas, I believe. Texas, led by Evan Yang, is actually starting to sneak up on the outside, which is what I love to see. A surprise dark horse on the outside.
Yeah, we've spoken about how the lanes are seated from 0 to 7 with the fastest times in lane 0. So right now what we're looking at is Texas Rowing Center. Who knows what happens in races? Maybe they had a bad race, but they're here in the final today. This is when they will make a decision as we come into this last 250 meters of this race.
That's right. And let's see when these crews start to bring the rates up here, because now that we have almost 4 or 5 boats across, if you are looking down on the beach now, I have a feeling they're really going to start to challenge each other. And as I speak, we're seeing it now. Let me see if I can get some rates for you. On Los Gatos, I have a 42. There we go, 42 crossing the line. If they can fend off White Marsh here, this is going to be very, very exciting here. White Marsh challenging, but let's keep an eye on Texas Rowing Center here, who potentially, see if we can hear the beep.
Oh, and that was
tough
battle.
to call. Yep.
Yeah.
I got to give that one to Texas.
It's amazing in those last surges what you see.
Love a good surge. Look at those hands going up in lane 0. Los Gatos led by Diego Lasso there in second.
And rounding out that finish, that was Oregon, followed by Oak Neck, followed by Miami. So we have some unofficial results. Los Gatos winning, followed by White Marsh, followed by Texas Rowing Center at 6:17.17 for Texas Rowing and 6:17.39 for Maritime Rowing Club.
Unbelievable.
Those small differences.